T-minus 3, 2, 1, 0.
My friends, hello, welcome. It has been a week and a half of ravaging Star Citizen players' wallets, and honestly, not the computers too much. It hasn't been too crashy in 4.4. But IAE is coming to a close, and we've got several new ships to be thankful for from the event. We've also got a couple of ships to expect even after the event in December, and boy, oh boy, folks, it has been a record-setting year of funding. It has been a record-setting month of funding. Star Citizen has been blowing up, but we're not really here to talk about the funding too much today. We're going to talk about ships. What ships have come out, what ships might be coming out, and how surprised are we by the ones that came out. And I'm joined today by tristPWN, who you may know for not only modeling an entire ironclad, which is just insane, and we will get to that, but also making probably the most interesting videos covering the silhouettes we've been getting over the last few years, looking at possible designs for these ships, and ultimately, I think just like sparking some curiosity in everybody when it comes to what ships are coming out. So I thought, hey, why not a great time to follow up and talk more about ships with tristPWN than IAE? So thank you for joining me today, dude. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you very much. Thank you for having me again.
Of course. Yeah, I thought it was about time. Unfortunately, we didn't get a silhouette video this year, so we don't get to dive too much into that. But there is one more silhouette that we know is coming at some point that they've hinted at that we will talk about today. But like before we get into the ship talk, how have you been doing when it comes to like Star Citizen in general?
In general,
Yeah,
I've been
you actually
good,
playing it?
but I have not been playing I mean, I've been playing more than the last time we talked. But in the last few weeks, I just couldn't start it a single time because I was too busy, building ironclads, as you said. That took over the majority of my time. But I have been catching up a bit on that ASD storyline. And also, unrelated, I have been flying a lot through Pyro to get inspiration for another not so ship-related project.
Ooh. I like not so ship related things. That sounds interesting. I will keep an eye out. Yeah, it's definitely been a time when I think people have been playing more over the time. Like you said, I think last we talked was like March or April, probably. It was around there. So
Maybe.
it's definitely better to play now than it was back then for a lot of people. I don't think you're alone there. But what I do find interesting is also like the Star Citizen community has been responsible for so many of the things that you would expect the game company to do, from tutorials to listing the economy and like the prices of things to like where you can find things. Even the guide system has been mostly driven by players. You find yourself modeling out the ships and like showing people more of the like interesting details of what these ships are. And it's not weird because so much of Star Citizen is
it
the
not?
community. No, it's like everything that you could think of that happens. And Star Citizen's not a big project. When I think about something like, say, Destiny or Call of Duty or World of Warcraft, I can imagine the community taking all of those responsibilities. But like this is a small pond in comparison, and you have so much creativity and talent, and it going into like the art, the machinima, the resources, the tools. It's really cool. So thank you for doing that.
Thanks to the community for appreciating it, I guess.
That's what I always say.
Like
I'm glad
it goes
there's
both ways.
there's this many nerds around. Cool. So
I would have stopped early if there weren't like a lot of people interested in the stuff and asking questions and just talking about it and connecting.
what got you into Star Citizen?
Wing Commander.
Okay.
So I'm probably just like you, a 90s kid. I grew up with my father playing Wing Commander and these old Star Wars games. Wing Commander I've never played back then myself because I was a kid, and the first thing I played were X-Wing and X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, so these super
Yep.
old Star Wars games.
Yep.
But it's basically the same game, play and stuff. And that pretty early on made me interested in spaceships and space games. And then when Star Citizen was announced, I heard it from it like when it was still a Kickstarter. I didn't back it immediately because I was just starting university. I didn't have the money to spend it on stuff that wouldn't come out the next 3 years. I thought. Turned out it's more like 15 by now, but I bought it 1 or 2 years later, in 15. And so yeah, since then I just followed along while studying and working, and was always interested in the development much more than, not much more, but I was very much into the development and watching people build the things.
It's interesting being basically at the ground floor of what could potentially be a really big IP in development, because
Yeah.
everybody is coming from different directions, you know? Like if there was a massive, let's say like Cyberpunk, for instance, 2077 is obviously based off of an existing IP. So a lot of the people who are into that game came from like fairly particular places. I mean, it's a wide ranging game. It got really popular, but it
Yeah.
kind of was able to pull off of an existing user base pretty easily. I know that Star Citizen has Wing Commander and Freelancer and those communities, but it genuinely feels like every person you ask is coming from a different direction to try this game just because it's like a cool space game.
Yeah.
I do wonder
And
if
honestly,
go ahead.
I hope that they do more with the IP than just Star Citizen. I think I said last time that I wouldn't say more interested, but in the I joined not because of Star Citizen, because of Squadron 42. I was always more into the single player games. And I might still am, I don't know. I'm deep into Star Citizen now, but we'll see. But I just hope that they do more with the IP, because I mean, I just said it, I was much into Star Wars and not so much anymore. So I'm looking for another big franchise, and I hope they do something cinematic too, because that's even more my niche.
Yeah. Yeah, not gonna lie, I think there's a lot of opportunities for short stories and
And
series
long stories.
and long stories. Yeah, you remember that Mercury Star Runner video they made when that ship came out?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like they could just do anthologies of that every year. Just tell us
Yeah, they
stories of
could
the
just
verse.
flesh that out. Yeah.
But yeah, it's I also wonder if they're going to branch out more, because while I say that this game didn't pull from the same place for a lot of people, you do hear the Wing Commander name come up a lot, and not just in conversations of Star Citizen. I see the Wing Commander and Freelancer name come up a lot in general gaming to a surprising extent.
Yeah.
As somebody who didn't know about them before I got into Star Citizen, I consider the way that people regard Chris Roberts and his stuff, and then I also see the way people talk about those games, and I realize there's a lot of complicated history there. But it is surprising how influential those games were, and I do wonder if Star Citizen or Squadron 42 could meet that in today's gaming
Yeah.
industry.
Well, I guess it's, to a certain extent, it is because of the average age of the player base of Star Citizen, which is higher than your normal, I don't know, Battlefield or something.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people are maybe between me and my father in age, I don't know. But back in those days, I obviously only know it from a child's perspective, but whenever I heard him talking about it, whenever he talked about gaming back in the days, space sims were at a time one of the biggest genre in gaming at all.
That's
Like,
crazy.
I remember that. I remember a story that he was at one of the biggest electronic fairs back in the day, and they were showing Star Wars Rebel Assault on a gigantic cinema screen, because the graphics were unheard of. It had pre-rendered graphics, but it looked incredible for the time, and so that genre was pushing 3D graphics late, 3D graphics first, and then 3D graphics later. It was the genre before shooters took over, because you had no ego shooters at that point. The first big mainstream shooters came in the mid-90s, right? Maybe
Yeah,
if you
Mid
count
to late 90s. Yeah.
if you count Half-Life as the first like real big commercially successful shooter, then that was like 5 years before that. And so I guess a lot of these people are still around, and everyone back then knew Wing Commander, so it's not that surprising to me, but it's surprising to me that it is gaining traction again.
Yeah. I hope for the best for this, because like you said, I think it would be very cool. I'm here for the game, I'm here for the cool space stuff, but it would be cool if they could branch out a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Other games too, other genres,
Yeah.
let's say.
Yeah, absolutely. Just give me a 4X game in the Star Citizen universe, right? Just give me the quantum simulation that they had as a video game.
Yeah.
All right. Let us talk about spaceships. That's what the people are here for, folks. IAE has been busy. They started off with the Perseus, which is kind of, I mean, we knew it was coming, but the actual fact that that was the first ship was it's interesting. It's a big ship. It's very anticipated. I think it was put into concept 4 years ago, so it is from the backlog, but not as old as some other ships. Meant for like 6 people or so, and seems to be a pretty fun story. Have you gotten to try it out, or you have any thoughts on it?
I have not played it, but I have checked out the interior, walked around it, had a deep look at it, and watched some people play with it, but damn, it's impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really care
the Polaris
for combat ships.
was impressive, but this is another step up once again.
What do you think of the fact that like the Polaris came out a year before this, and they are so drastically different in terms of like their interior quality?
I'm not too surprised. I mean, I think it's more surprising that they've managed to get this out in a year. But to be honest, it's something that I feel with the Ironclad interior I built. It's not near the same level, but once you have the toolkit together, so what did they call it? The ship kits, the manufacturer kits. Once you have that together, it's pretty easy to build the whole layout, and then you have a lot of time to figure out what you can polish and what you can improve. And I think they structured their work so well that they can just learn from what they did. That's good, and you feel that's really different than, I don't know, 5-10 years ago, their ships.
Yeah, no,
everyone was its very own adventure.
I agree with you there, but I find myself thinking, when are you going to update the Polaris now?
They did talk about that in the show.
Okay, yeah. So for anybody who's watching this podcast, I have not seen the latest Star Citizen live yet, because I'm not as powerful a nerd as I come off to be, I guess. And no, we've been away for Thanksgiving, and I'll be watching it live on stream this week. So Tris is going to fill in the gaps for me. And you're saying they have indeed talked about going back to the Polaris?
Yeah. I think they have already made a few little changes a few days or weeks ago, but that was minor stuff. But they said they have obviously learned a lot from the Polaris interior. They want to look at what is better now at the Perseus and bring that back. They don't want to do it immediately, just so they can, like, their wording was let the dust settle, see what sticks, what people like, what they don't like. And obviously you get if you always instantly go back to improving, you get stuck in a loop of just polishing and polishing and polishing. I think it makes sense to go back to the Polaris, but it's not in such a bad state. You have to do it this week.
Yeah,
I think settling and like giving it a few days or weeks or maybe month to see how it really feels now is a good idea.
Yeah,
But
I
he also said like about the signage and stuff. They talked a lot about that he just wanted to try to make it cold and not too not user friendly, but military, right? It doesn't, and not everything needs to be signposted. And so
Mhm.
they tried that, didn't work so well. That's something you learn from it and improve the next time. So
I didn't have too many
all good for
problems
me.
with the Polaris interior, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, I guess I see the problem with the signage specifically because you couldn't always tell which part you're on. But I thought about that. I mean, in real military ships, I don't think everything is perfectly labeled. It's just if you're deployed on a ship, you stay on the ship for months or maybe years, and you just learn that ship. It's not meant as in Star Citizen where you jump from one ship to the next from day to day, and then you have to instantly find everything. I don't think
Yeah.
I have not been on a military ship, but I don't expect anything to be perfectly labeled. I think
I
maybe that design idea was pretty good, and maybe it's just it needs to be gamified a touch more.
I do agree with the labeling. The other parts of the interior didn't really bother me too much, but I understand that, like wanting to have easy to read signs of where to go for quick reference is good. That's good. I can get behind that.
Yeah, and I mean Polaris is incredible compared to other games. It's just obviously the better they get, the more we will ask.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
The level they have is crazy, and so we try to go even further. And they are, and that's what makes this special.
So the Polaris, or the Perseus is a fairly large ship, I think around 100 meters long or so. And it comes out at a time that's very contentious for larger ships as engineering is becoming a reality with 4.5, surprisingly. It's planned to be in the game live by the time, I mean, maybe not for you guys, but this month, for those of you listening to this, it's still November when we're recording this, but in December, we're meant to get engineering, which is going to drastically change how people can approach large scale ships if they plan on getting into combat. Um, have you gotten to try engineering at all?
I have not, just because I'm in the last PTU always. I'm not in any Evocati, I'm not in any
I see.
waves or anything. I just have to wait till the. I think it is open at this point, or was it in the last few days? But again, I was too busy to
No, they're
jump
trying to
in.
get it to wave
And,
one.
okay, so I didn't even have a chance. No, yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have thoughts about it?
I mean, since I have not tried it, not in the latest, in the older. They tried it before. I have never had my hands on engineering, so nothing tangible. But obviously, I'm looking forward to it. But I'm also kind of anxious that it gets too tedious, too annoying, maybe. But I mean, I have played games like Sea of Thieves, which I didn't particularly like. I mean, the game is not what I expected, but generally the moment when you're on a ship and you have your people there, and one is steering and the other one runs down to repair stuff, and then the other one is going to the guns, and that is super fun. And I hope that we get that kind of dynamic.
It's
That is
so
something we
fun,
really
dude.
could miss, and yeah, that could really make this special if it is not tedious.
Do you think CIG could realistically put that, like, give the people who want that experience in the game without making anybody else have to take part in that kind of experience? Or do you think it's kind of everybody's going to have to get a dragged along for it? Too bad.
I think I think if you are a solo player, you will be fine. As I have heard, it's even better for you because you can repair your stuff and you're not dying. I mean, you're not instantly dying. You can still repair your stuff. So as a solo player, you might just benefit from it. But I think it might exclude you a bit from driving those bigger ships successfully alone. So for people who in the past like to steer their, let's take a Perseus by themselves, I think that will be tedious because that will be a lot of running if you have to repair stuff. And that is something that obviously some people might not like, but I kind of understood early on that, but not understood. I accept that not every solo player should be driving these big ships.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I'm just thinking about why would you take a Perseus out solo? It doesn't even sound fun. You don't really get your own weapons. When you do, you're not turning quickly. Like people fly their Polaris and their Idris and their Reclaimer and all this stuff solo. And I know some people are getting use out of it, but for the most part, it feels like they're just transportation ships they're just like glorified transportation.
Yeah, I mean, there are people who just like to play alone, and
Oh yeah, no,
it's
I get that.
it's hard to bridge the gap between having these single player campaigns and then being massively multiplayer online at the same time.
Yeah. But let's say like
I
the
don't think it
person
works. I
who
think you have to choose one.
you don't think you can do both.
Well, I mean, you can have single player oriented missions like the ASD ones that are fine to play alone, but I don't think you can have everything available for both kind of players
Oh
without
yeah.
sacrificing fun.
Yeah, and that's where the
So
that's where
I
the
fully accept that bigger like fleet battles will require a crew on a big ship, and I think that's a good idea.
that's where the big disagreement seems to be coming from is like people think that they're gonna get locked out of gameplay because they can't get friends together. And
I mean,
it's
yeah, which they technically are, I guess. But
yeah, I don't want to seem flippant about it. Like I understand the average player cannot get 6, 7, 8 people on into the game on a specific time at a specific day of the week. I think realistically, and this is what it seems like CIG is targeting, a group of 3 to 5 people is sort of your upper limit. Like you're generally playing with a 3-person group. If
yeah,
you can get friends together. And so I do think that they're making a lot of ships that can operate like that. But once you get into big 100 meter plus ships, it's it almost feels like it should be more of a um an annoyance to try and do something like that alone.
yeah, but I mean, I get that people are annoyed because they have spent so much money on those ships and feel like they own the ships and want to use them for themselves.
Hmm.
But I want an Idris or a Polaris or Perseus to be special when you come across it, and I want it to be not just one person. I want it to feel like there's a lot of stuff going on there, and
Yeah.
I want it to be a threat. And
Yeah. It'd be cool to see a
yeah,
Polaris and know, like, that's a danger because there are 5 people maybe on there working
yeah.
together. You so you mentioned a lot of people probably feel like they're they're angry because they've lost something that they've spent a lot of money on. Do you think that CIG has done enough to tell people this was happening from the design documents they released to like the Inside Star Citizens and Star Citizen Lives? Those are all messages that we can find because we follow this stuff and we know about it. But is it on CIG for not having made it extremely clear to everybody who signed up for this that at some point their ships will be harder to use?
That's hard for me to say because I mean, really actively following the project every week with Inside Star Citizen. I started
Yeah.
in like 2019 or something, so maybe I have missed the parts where they miscommunicated. But as far as I remember, it was always clear that big ship needs more than one person. I remember that a lot of people were always talking about flight blades and AI crew, and I'm not sure because I wasn't there, but it kind of feels like those people were referencing some older statements where they said maybe you can crew that completely with AI, and maybe people took that out of context. I'm not sure, but to me, it was always clear that it will not be the same as having people, obviously.
CIG has a very bad habit of putting marketing into information. I think there
Yeah.
have been several times throughout the years where there might be like a ship Q&A or something, and there's a question about something specific to the ship, and they say some offhand comment like blah 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 that might work for you and your crew or for NPCs in the future or something like that. Um,
Yeah.
there have also been times like they've definitely talked about NPC Crew in the past. There have been documents written about how NPCs could help you in certain situations and what they could do. But like, I also feel like I do have this understanding in my like throughout history of the game at least that I expected there to be a multiplayer component. I always expected AI blades for sure because you could always see the computer component and you knew that there was the avionics section. You could see it in every ship
Mhm.
and you knew that there were going to be like blades that could be slotted into there to help with turrets and stuff like that. That stuff's pretty well documented. NPC Crew a little bit less so, and that's tied in a bit with something they used to call agent smithing, which was a function planned for back when this was not necessarily as much an MMO as it was. Man, I don't even know how to describe it. It was basically an adventure game you could play with friends. It was an open environment, but
Mhm.
you could avoid running into people. And the idea was like you can't necessarily transport your character who's in ArcCorp all the way to Terra. So you can instead agent Smith into an NPC that's with your friend on their ship in their instance and use that character in the meantime just to play with them because you guys would want to link up really quickly. That idea disappeared over time as they got to the more open format of Star Citizen. They moved away from the idea of instancing everything, and this became more of an open environment MMO. But that was like, there's a whole sort of segment of Star Citizen's development that is like offhand statements and
Yeah.
exaggerated wants and stuff like that. And I think that NPC Crew is very intimately tied up in that, and it causes some feelings. And the fact that they've sold these spaceships for so expensive with all these crew requirements, and it's kind of been in question up until basically last year at about this time whether or not that was going to be something in the 1.0 game. I totally understand
Yeah.
people's unhappiness with it. And I think that CIG should be open to giving refunds for the ships that they sold during this time. I mean, you can melt them
Maybe.
for credit in the store, but I do think also that it was kind of expected. The reality of this was like whether it was NPCs or other players, you would have to have some kind of help to make these ships work.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I, I think what I kind of forgot, obviously there were a lot of claims in the past that were completely taken out of nothing. Like, I mean, this obviously I remember the space worm, even though I was not actively following the development, but I remember it happening and then not happening.
Yeah.
So there were always claims that were just completely ridiculous. I guess now, or like what, since I am actively following, I feel like it's less. They don't do these outrageous claims anymore. But you may be right. They don't. They also don't. They could be clearer about some things, and I think they leave some stuff in the shadows, maybe intentionally, so we can fill the gaps with our imagination.
Yep. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
think
mean, especially like just AI running around my ships, doing engineering on my ship. Even if they said that I never believed that happening. Just from a technical standpoint, that's just ridiculous. That's not. I mean, you have seen AI in the game; it's getting better, but I don't think it will ever be like what people expect. Like you have 15 AI people running around your ship, doing engineering, doing extinguishing fires, shooting your guns. I don't see it.
that then begs the question. We have kitchens, we have bathrooms, we have pool tables, we have dartboards, we have all kinds of stuff in these ships that emphasizes habitation and living and spending time. But most players are going to be sprinting around every ship with their helmet on or off, not really caring what's going on, just getting the most efficient stuff done. Does it feel like then they've built a bunch of ships for role playing, or do you think that players will still be able to be motivated to use these facilities outside of the way that or the same way that NPCs might?
Oh, I think they are already. Wouldn't you say? I mean, Not sure if that's a trick question, but
I
I already enjoy all the living
Nah.
quarters and stuff. I think to me it's maybe the most interesting parts in ships. It just
want to use the
makes
pool
it
table,
so
man.
believable.
I want to play billiards.
Sorry?
It just like
Ah, I mean,
come
you
on.
can play chess. That is something, right?
Yeah, but does it upgrade my intelligence level by 2 points every time I win?
That's a different game, though. That sounds like Sims.
Yeah, no, it definitely does, and it's not something I'm actually looking for, but it makes me wonder, like, what are they going to do to motivate people to use these ships to their fullest? What are they going to do to make it easier to get people to use these ships as groups? I mean, we know they're working on looking for group social apps. Obviously, joining an org makes a huge. I don't think people understand just how big a difference joining an org can make because some people have a very strong feeling towards that. Um, but is it going to be enough to make it all be worth it?
I think engineering is the biggest puzzle piece for that ever. To make it gameplay-wise useful, having these many people on your ship.
Mm-hmm.
And what we need then is some kind of mission type, maybe even line, that just requires this kind of cooperation. So bigger missions that you just can't take on by yourself.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't be happy about myself. I obviously also don't want to miss out on certain things. But just as we need cool single player missions, we also need cool, big, special, and most importantly, difficult missions that require people playing together to
We really
make
do.
the most out of these ships.
I also hope at some point, and this would require the whole NPCs on trips thing or on ships, but it would be very cool if they could make it so that there were AI controlled NPC ships just flying around through Nyx and stuff and doing patrols, and you could join those ships. So, and like that's how they do the missions for engineers. You're not really having to go and play with other players. You just get that experience without having to be in a player controlled environment. But
Okay, yeah,
that's a
sure.
little crazy. That would be a crazy idea.
I mean, 2 years ago, I would have said we will see that in Squadron 42 first and see how that feels.
Yeah.
I expect us to do some engineering stuff there too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm kind of surprised that we will have it now, like next week.
Yeah,
Maybe.
it is.
Yeah, it's a bit sooner than I expected.
Yeah, I don't think I was alone when they were showing it in the tech preview, and I legitimately I talked to people who were like, not for 6 months, and I was in the same place. I was like, this is a 4 point.
Mhm.
I was gonna say this is a 4.5 edition, but that's when I was thinking 4.5 might be a March update. So
Yeah.
I was thinking this was like a
too.
March or maybe like a May sort of addition to
Mhm.
the game. I'm surprised to see it coming in 25.
Absolutely.
I
But
feel like
I
that's.
mean, yeah.
It seems like that's almost a sign that they are trying to push features harder because they need to get this out in a way so that they can start testing other things in the EPTU, but that might be hopeful wishes.
It might be, but I mean, there's even more stuff on the horizon.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, and I want to talk about like more future ships. So let's get through the rest of the ships that came at IAE. Got
Mhm.
super distracted. The Drake Clipper. I know you haven't gotten to really try that one out yet, but this was one of the ones that we did a lot of speculation both separately and together on regarding the silhouette that represented it. How how do you feel you did on your predictions now that we've actually seen the ship?
Um, um, I think I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, obviously, if you go like completely into detail, it is one of the few ones I've been off the most. But it was also the hardest we've ever seen just because of its shape and stuff. But
Yeah, it was
I mean, I
weird.
got the scale completely right, like down to like a meter. I got the wings and the general shape 80-90% right, and also the kind of space you have in the middle. And also, I mean, the role, you could say I was off by saying it's maybe a transport that it is not. But what my dream configuration was at the end was like a bounty hunting ship I said a bounty hunting ship like the Razor's Crest, where it's not like a fighting bounty hunting ship, but something you live on and do everyday tasks there, and you hunt people down not by shooting them down, but by going places, walking there, capturing them, put their carbonite, or in this case freezing pods, into your hold, and then maybe collect a few and then bring those bounties back. And that's, even though it's not a bounty hunting ship, that's exactly what you can do in this one. It's they call it a generalist ship, but yeah, it has all those things I wanted from it, so I'm pretty happy with it.
I would say even the front section, you kind of theorize that bottom part would flip out and fold down on its own. That is kind of how the entry ramp opens up.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you weren't even that far off there.
Even though I said I don't think it is, but it turned out I had the whole thing rotated by like 5 degrees too far to the left, and so the angles were a bit off. But yeah, I mean, I thought about it at least.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And also, I put the final model that we have into that silhouette camera, and it did not change that much. It changed a lot less than I expected in the beginning. I thought it looks very different now, but it pretty much fits into that old silhouette. It was a tough one because the shape is so unique.
The landing gear is different, right? Or is it just weird because of the lighting?
No, it's not. I mean, I think it could be the same. Maybe like small changes, but not too far off now.
All right. And what do you think of the ship itself? Like,
you have not you have not seen Star Citizen live, have you? Not at all.
No, I haven't yet.
I sent you a time code. I don't think you have listened to it because you would have known. So, in that show, Jared said...
he makes a joke, doesn't he? Yeah, I think... Go ahead. I think I did watch it, yeah.
Okay, he just said it is... People in the beginning who leaked it said it's ugly, but it sold like crazy, and so it can't be that ugly.
Oh,
and at that point, I was already a bit angry no, I was not angry, but I had put a few like useful messages in chat, and they were just not picked up. And so I just wrote in the chat between like 1,000 people, it's still ugly though, Jared. And that is the message he picked up, read it out, looked into the camera, and said, "Your mom."
Yeah. Okay, so that was you.
That was me, and that was unexpected. And I actually I felt a bit bad afterwards because I love the ship, and I didn't want people to think that I hate the ship, right? And I don't want to be negative in the chat, but it was just, I mean, even though the ship is successful, it's still ugly. It is. The front section is it's hideous.
It is ugly.
But
it's...
I don't want it to look different. I mean, I'm thinking
that's the thing about ugly things.
Trying. Yeah,
everybody loves
I'm thinking
about
redesigning it to see if it could look. I feel like it is so close to look very pretty with just a few little tweaks, but I'm not sure if it should. It maybe it is more iconic because it is so.
Yeah.
Special.
It's got to be ugly. Yeah, honestly, I don't think you should feel bad about saying it's ugly in chat. That's the point. Like, they shouldn't take that seriously, because I think it's pretty clearly made to be ugly, and I do think that if it looked good, it definitely would not have the charm. It doesn't even. It's not even going to happen again. You know, they can't reveal another ship that's this quirky. Like, there are some weird looking ships in the game. I think the Car 2 is fairly weird. The Caterpillar is kind of strange. There are a couple, but this is like...
I want more of those. This one is iconic. Like, this is this could be from Star Wars without looking like a Star Wars ship, but it has the same uniqueness that some of them have, I think.
Yeah, this looks like it was designed in the Star Citizen world. It doesn't look like it was designed to be put into it.
Yeah, so I felt bad about it because I didn't want to be negative. I think it is one of the best ships. I can't even remember. I think it is one of the most interesting ships to me since, I don't know, maybe since I'm following, because like just it looks interesting and the role is just in. That's just what I always wanted. It's something you can live on. It's where you can do a lot of different things on a very low level, and the whole generalist role that they introduced with that is, I want more of that.
Yeah,
It's
that's a big boon
it's
for the game.
perfect. That's my genre of ships.
So I was on InfoRunners before this, and I was talking to Execute about what they were saying in terms of this ship. And like you just said, Jared said that it has sold well. Now, Execute was saying that they mentioned that this was their best-selling Drake ship, and also
Mhm.
pointed out that they previously said the Cutter, which is a Drake ship, was their best-selling ship ever. So I
Mhm.
don't know if that it directly means that this Clipper is the best-selling ship that CIG has ever made. I'm sure it's up there. I'm sure this is like top 5, top 6 ships already.
Yeah,
Do you think
me
this
too.
can end up being the most popular ship in the game?
No,
Why
I
not?
think the reason it sold is because it has, as always, it has stuff that other ships don't have. It is the first one with the crafting bench, even though it's not working. I think word got out that it has a crafting bench before it was sold, and I think people just heard crafting bench, buy. And then also, uh, it has a med bed, which is important to a lot of people.
Yeah,
Um,
that's yeah.
it just opens so many. Um, yeah, it scratches so many loops at the same time, even if only a bit, and I think that's interesting for a lot of people. I think it will not be the toughest, and that might be a reason why you don't want to fly it forever. And I also think that not everyone is into the Drake aesthetic. The interior is
Yes.
incredible
Yes.
detailed. But I'm sure there are a lot of players who are just curious about the new stuff, about the new features, and it will not become their forever ship. And I mean, that's one of the reasons why I said in chat it's still ugly, though. I know it's successful, but not only because it's so pretty and so cool. But yeah, it still is to me. I think it could be my main ship for the near future. I want something like that from a different manufacturer. As much as I like Drake,
Yeah.
I would, for me personally, like something cleaner, homier. But role-wise, I don't see myself picking anything else right now. So for some, but not for everyone, is my guess.
But that's why, I mean, and I think you're right. It won't be the most popular ship, but that is why I think a lot of people have bought it as well. This is clearly a culmination of them understanding their game a lot better than they have. They understand how medical is going to work and how prolific medical beds are going to be. They understand how crafting is supposed to work. They understand the sort of expected minimum of cargo that somebody might need in any given situation. They understand how much room is needed for engineering. This feels like the first ship that was built with the actual 1.0 of Star Citizen in mind. And I'm sure there's other things that are going to come up that might change the way that ships are designed, but
Mhm.
I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, I kind of hope that this whole they call it the generalist class of ships. I hope that this does not now make a lot of other ships useless. Because obviously, I mean, you have your starter ships, and then you have this, and then you have something very dedicated to one um, perfection. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It could harm some other in between ships. I don't know which one specifically, but I guess maybe it could. Maybe
It,
not this one specifically, but if they do more generalist ships, maybe even like a touch bigger, I think this could be taken away maybe from. They have to balance it good.
it does draw attention to ships that I think most people considered generalist ships before. These are the kinds of ships that, I mean, it's funny. Like, this game really has been made up of moving things, moving boxes around and shooting people. So it was like you either get a cargo ship, a
Mm.
mining ship, which I guess was another possibility, or a combat ship. And so the ships that we would consider to be like the generalist, go here if you don't know what you want to do kind of ships are like the Avenger and the Cutlass Black and the Spirit C1, or maybe even the Freelancer or the Constellation. But now, if you
Yeah.
take a step back and you look at those ships with this additional generalist role in view, it's like, well, those are actually cargo ships to some extent, and it makes you wonder how popular are those ships going to be? As popular as they always have been? Is the Cuddy Black and the Avenger going to be the go-to for people, or are we going to see some other starter ships that balance things out a little bit more? Like maybe even the
Yeah.
Intrepid, you could say, has less cargo capacity than the Avenger. Do you think that you said this is a worry of your own, that this might make those ships feel inadequate? Do you think they can emphasize that cargo space as the reason to keep those ships?
Yeah, I think from the ones you've said, specifically the C1, I would see that as a step up if you are more into cargo. And I mean, it just is. But the Cutlass Black, for example, is something I would be a bit worried. It has more space, but I mean, they are kind of similarish, close.
Yeah, it's got a turret.
Yeah, but that's also stronger. So I guess no. Actually, right now I can't think of a single ship that is now useless because of the Clipper. I think for right now, I feel like it is quite balanced. It's more like if they introduce more ships like these, it could become a problem. Like if you have a generalist ship that is another step bigger and that then has the same cargo capacity of a C1, for example.
Yeah.
That could then obviously be a problem. But then again,
And
it would be more expensive. And a medbed, yeah. But I mean, it could also, if we go back to what we said in the beginning, these cater very much to single players.
Yeah.
And again, they will never be as good as a dedicated hauler in the same size, but give you a bit of everything. So maybe, yeah.
Okay.
They could exploit it and make these to sell them, but I guess in the long term they will have their interest. They will want to balance them for single player players and then have bigger or more dedicated ships be useful at the same time. I think there's space for both of them.
Okay. Well, I like to hear that. I hope they do keep the balance going. It's going to be interesting. Like I said, it feels like they know what a game needs now. And are they going to start putting medical beds in other ships? Is the idea of a medical bed becoming more and more commoditized? It's quite the time of change for Star Citizen.
Yeah. And I'm here for it. I like it.
Yeah, it's much more exciting than where we have been in the past.
And they have said that more generalist ships are already planned or in production. Or... I think they said planned.
As long as they keep them solo focused like this, I think as long as they have like one seat, that definitely makes them stand out from other ships in that category, like the Cutlass or the C1 we've been talking about. But I'm with you. I love the idea of this ship. Boy, oh boy, do I love the idea of this ship, and I'm going to make a video about it for sure, but I'm not... Sorry, it's too ugly. And like not in the way that I'm like, ooh, it's charming, I'm going to fly it around. No, I just don't like the way it looks.
I think from some angles it looks very good. And
yeah,
I think it could look very good. If you squint it is pretty sleek.
Squint hard enough to not see any of the details. It looks pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. What else did we have released? I'm not too interested in the vehicles. The Wolf, the Alpha Wolf is very cool, but it's a play on the L21 Wolf. There's a whole conversation to be had around that and the weapon stuff. I'm not sure how much you want to get into that, but do you have any opinions on the ship?
Not much. I have flown that actually. That is probably the only one I have flown already. The only opinion I have is that I think it's great that they stopped having variants of ship that have the same geometry, the same model, the same chassis. So just these few little wing tweaks and added lights and stuff make it a lot more okay for me to re-release the same ship. And having the weapons being swappable is just, I think it's a good thing. I think they made a very good. We talked about it earlier on the Inforunners, and we were a bit afraid that it's just a reskin with different guns. And they talked about that in the show and said they want to go away from that, having swappable, even bespoke weapons and these different skins for me, not skins, different models is for me another step up.
I think that it's something I don't have a problem with. I'm just a little more annoyed that they are doing it differently now. I do wish that they had always treated ships like this. I think it's a lot more efficient and it makes a lot more sense. But earlier on in their lifetime, they weren't constrained as much by what can we make in game. So they were just putting pictures out, you know? They were like, oh, well, this ship is a cool idea and it can look great. Let's put a picture out of this and let's put a picture out of that. Now they're actually having to launch these ships into the game. So they're like, well, let's not put a bunch of time into a ship that has this design and might or may not work. Let's use a existing chassis, change it a little bit, which is what they do in real life. So I like it too. It does... I can understand why it's weird as it's a big change in the way that they're relaunching these ships, and it does feel like they are just almost like recycling models. But I do think that's what they should do.
I would be angry about that if they would really recycle old ships instead of doing new ones. But we got more ships than ever that are new, and then these variants on top. So
right,
that way, I think we can't complain. If you don't like the variant, take the 15 other new ships that we got this year. There's enough that they did, and I think these variants, in addition to that, are just fleshing it out more. Especially these two wolves, they are different, maybe just a little, but I can't decide which one I like better, and I think that's a good thing.
Do you have any strong feelings about the selling the weapons kits? Did you guys talk about that on Inforunners?
No, we didn't. Are they only sold for money?
Yes.
Oh. Okay, that is a problem, I guess. But I didn't. I thought they said in the live that they only sell it for money for a certain time, and at some point you can get them in game. Is that not true?
I'm sure that'll be the case, but it's a little off because earlier on in the year they said they were not going to sell missile racks or small components like that, you know, with store exclusivity. And so it's like, okay, well, yeah, this isn't a missile rack or a small component, but like how particular do you need to get with that language?
I guess if it is really optional, like it felt, I think these what was it they sold before that we got so super angry about? I already forgot.
Is the flight blades.
Oh, the flight blades. Yeah. That, I mean, that give you like a clear advantage or something. That is outrageous. I think these just bespoke weapons that you could also get from the other ship, just for swapping it out if you want a different one. I mean, yeah, if I don't have such strong feelings about, because I wouldn't spend money on that. I would just wait until it's available in game. If it will never be available in game, I will be angry. If they say this, they do it now. I think his wording was they do that to make some to fund the game, and in a year you can buy them in game. And I can wait. I don't care.
They say they want people to have the choice to either get it in game or help the funding of the game, and I think that's valiant. I think,
yeah,
like, making sure that people have a very clear choice and they're not driven by FOMO is the most important thing you could do. But at the same time, I'm also like, I have a lot of trouble accepting the idea of the components being sold for money. It's a lot of I don't like that. But
their monetization is incredibly aggressive, especially if you look at the numbers. Like how expensive. If selling guns is one thing, but they are sold for the amount of money you can buy other games for. But I think it's a pill we have to swallow if we don't want Electronic Arts to be involved in this game.
Look, I swallowed the ship sales pill, all right, and that one was rough. I had to drink gallons of water to get that down, but it I don't keep asking me to swallow pills, CIG. I'm holding the line. I'm answering the call. I can't also swallow the pill. All right. I need to give me
Yeah,
something
but
else.
I feel like it's you don't have to have every latest gun and every latest
No, no,
chips.
no, 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 no. I'm not even looking at it from a perspective of like, oh, I'm in a disadvantage. I'm looking at it a perspective of like the economy is a driving force, right? Earning things and progressing is a driving force. And if we eat into the idea of what progression is in the game, then you start to remove motivation for people to do things. And that's, I think, pretty important for an MMO. You need people to want to work together to complete tasks. And if somebody can just
Yeah.
step into the middle of an economic situation where people are trying to get resources to get a certain commodity, and they're like, well, I just bought that commodity on the store and it's got 900 plus quality on it. Why are you guys going mining? That
Right. That would be outrageous again, but I don't see that happening with gun kits.
I hope not.
I think
That's why
it's
it
a
feels
lot
like
of
a
FOMO.
slippery slope to me. Like this isn't
Yeah.
necessarily the problem. It's like where does monetization stop that could be the problem?
Yeah.
I would like
But
them to
yeah.
draw a line in the sand for that, just so that we know at least.
Yeah, I will get my pitchfork out once it affects my gameplay.
Let's talk about the Ox real quick before we move on from the ships of IAE to what's coming next. The Ox is one of these variants. It's a repurpose of a ship we got earlier for mining.
Mhm.
Mining? Salvaging.
Yeah.
Mining. Yeah.
I
how,
know the
how
goal
do
is a
you
miner. Yep.
yeah, how do you feel about the Ox? What do you think of that one?
um, I don't have the strongest feeling about it, but I heard rumors about it 2 days before it came out. And I just mocked something up and built something with 2 crates in the back that had the exact same configuration. Put that on YouTube, and it was like the exact match of what it was. That was a
Nice.
lot of luck. And I also made another variant that was off, where I put the 2 boxes behind each other to make like, I wanted to make like something like a tiny caterpillar, like where you have a cockpit on the side and then two 32 SU crates in front of each other.
That'd
Sounded
be interesting.
fun, looked stupid, looked completely ridiculous. But
So Drake.
I think it's a. Huh?
I said so
yeah,
it looked
but
Drake.
no, it didn't look Drake. It just looked ridiculous. I mean, Drake looked at least mostly very functional and industrial, and that just looked ridiculous. But I think the Ox is. I think it's a great addition. Even with 1 crate, I would have said it's a nice little alternative to the MPUV, just lore-wise, to not have the same cargo carrier everywhere, but have like variation in there. I always appreciate the same ship with the same functionality if it's different manufacturers, just for building out the world and make it more believable. But then it being a little bigger, having 2 crates, sure, makes it even like a tiny step up quality-wise, or not quality-wise, but functioning-wise. I don't think it looks ridiculous. It kind of feels like as you said earlier, it feels like something a company would do to reuse the chassis and do something that is also useful. It feels good and feels like a good addition, I think.
This feels like almost the most reasonable variant I've seen in the game. It literally looks like a mini raft. And it makes a ton of sense for just the way that the ship is designed for it to carry some boxes too. I think they knocked it out of the park with this idea.
Oh, now I want a mini raft though.
Gonna design that one too? Just design it and put it on YouTube and we'll get it in a couple months, right?
Dude, I'm so busy. I have my schedule for the next year completely filled out with ideas.
Oh man. That sounds like fun. How about we talk about ideas and what ships are coming next? That's the exciting part of this podcast. For those of you who have stuck around until this point, thank you. Leave a comment down below. Let me know that you're here for the good part. Not that, it's all been good. It's been great fun. But we've got an exciting lineup of possible ships coming in the next year. I say we start with
Yeah.
the most obvious choice, the silhouette
Mhm.
that did not silhouette this year. What is going on? Where is this mystery supposed CNOU ship?
Okay, so there's three basically. There's three that have not come out. The first small car is a crafting car,
Yeah.
which is not the one that they announced 2 days ago. It's the crafting variant of that same chassis. And then the Atlas one that I said could be an ambulance is also a crafting car.
How do you know that?
Sorry?
How do you know that one's a crafting thing?
Oh, they said they talked about that. They said that in the show.
Okay.
If I got the names right, the small one is the MSE, Greycat MSE. It's a crafting fabricating car where the rear like opens up to the sides like doors, and you have a small crafting table. The bigger one, the Atlas one, is the Atlas Auxiliary, something like that. Auxiliary something.
Okay.
And he said if you like the Clipper, you will like that one because it's basically the same. It has a crafting table the same size as the Clipper and a T2 med bed.
And it's a ground vehicle?
The Atlas one, sorry. There was this Atlas silhouette in there that we have not gotten so far.
Yeah. And that's the Atlas ground vehicle. It's got a med bed and a crafting table.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have any storage?
Mm-hmm. Didn't talk about that.
What the actual?
They didn't say.
Okay.
They
That's
just said
interesting.
a small. Yeah, and they also clarified that these kind of tables, so this one and the one in the Clipper, can build just like personal weapons and armor and maybe tier one, level 1 ship components.
Okay.
So nothing too big. And then the one I guess you are aiming at is the one where we so far had no idea what it is.
Yeah.
That is the CNOU Forge. Temp
Forge.
name, they said, but yeah, they called it the Forge.
Fitting.
And that is a crafting ship, small to medium solo ship. Has a bigger crafting machine than the Clipper and the Atlas one. And also has an onboard refinery. And it also has ground extractors.
Girl. What?
That's a lot, right?
Oh man. Hearing ships that have features, I guess this is kind of like what you're talking about with the Clipper getting people excited. Hearing ships that have features being planned is so nice because you know then that the gameplay is actually progressing along. The fact that they have this much figured out in small scale crafting,
Yes.
it sounds like we're going to have several opportunities and ways to craft stuff pretty soon.
Yes, but they have also said that the production of this ship is currently paused for a while because crafting was actually they said they initially thought that crafting would come out this year, so 2025, and it didn't obviously. So this is paused right now, but they are looking to pick it up soon. But I think they confirmed that this is not coming next year. And I think Jared asked, is crafting coming next year? And they said, not like, they didn't specifically say it, but it sounded like it's not too likely.
What?
Oh, sorry, no, sorry. Oh, I'm stupid. I mixed it up.
Too late. I'm canceling the podcast. Shut it down.
No, I mixed it up. I mixed it up.
Out of here. I'm done. Item recovery.
No. I messed up.
All right. I'll hear you out. Go. Tell me.
I can't remember the wording.
Is crafting not expected for next year?
I don't want to say something stupid now. I think they said that the small ones might work, but not in the way that you have crafting ships. So I think they said specifically that this ship is not planned for next year, and so anything bigger than the Clipper you should not expect too soon. And they also talked about the Pioneer not coming too soon. So specific, I think they specifically obviously said base building not next year, but crafting. Don't quote me. I think they said something vague.
Quote them, everybody. Chris Pone said crafting is not coming out next year.
No, I didn't. No, 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 no. Don't
No,
do
he
that to
didn't
me.
say that. He didn't say that. But it man, that really is a oh my gosh. Well, this is going to be a fun episode to watch through. It's surprising, not going to lie. I do wonder what that means for the preview test, the tech preview that they were planning for this month, and you never know. Maybe things change, but I do think that this 2025 threw a real wrench in plans when it comes to short-term feature development.
Um, I don't know. There's still a lot coming though.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. But I can understand if they thought that crafting and base building would make it this year before this year, and now at the end of the year they're like, it's going to be a little while longer.
I'm just trying to read up. No, I can't confirm.
All right, don't worry about it. We'll get there. Everybody on the podcast, just expectations.
It's late. It's late. I hope I don't. I hope I didn't think some. The only thing I can say for sure is that they said this ship is not coming next year.
Okay. Well, that already I think points to like something changed there. They thought that ship was going to come out earlier. The silhouette was
Yes,
basically
that they said.
yeah, that was for what was going to be worked on in the next year. So it doesn't mean that it was supposed to release like the Kraken was on there, for instance.
No,
Still something
the
to keep an
Kraken
eye
was
on.
not on there.
No, what was on there? Oh, the Ironclad was on there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, when do you think the Ironclad will come out? Is that also not coming next year? You're going to disappoint me further?
I also think they did not confirm that.
No.
I think for the Ironclad, they said something, is it coming next year? And I think they didn't give an answer. I personally think it is pretty likely that it is an Invictus ship, because what else would be the Invictus ship?
Yeah.
Or the Drake Defense Con ship, if you want.
Yeah, I think that's what I would expect. I think there will be another Invictus ship, but I think they'll also have the Ironclad, and then a week later.
I couldn't think of another big ship that they could have finished by then. And the Ironclad looked pretty far along in the images we've seen. But
It's
they
hit
have also made
Greybox.
changes to the Ironclad.
It's hit Greybox. I could see them getting from Greybox to final flight ready in 6 months. It is a big ship. They'd have to push, but I could see it happening.
I mean, Greybox, I mean, you've seen the images, haven't you? 2 of them.
Not anything recent, no. Just what they showed
In
in
the monthly
Inside Star
report of
Citizen.
October. So it's been about a month ago. They had those 2 images of the bridge and the hangar. And I mean, some details look pretty far along. So we'll see. But they changed stuff about that. I don't know if you got that.
No.
So they changed the SCU capacity of both variants for the assault from 1152 to 1440, and for the base one from 1536 to 2204.
Holy crap.
Which is quite a big one, right?
Yeah, that's a huge increase. That's like a whole nother Caterpillar, right?
Yeah, and they also said it's not getting. No, they didn't say it's not getting bigger, but they said that they just made better use of the space and found some places in the front to rearrange stuff. We have already made a lot of tests on stream right after that discussion, and I think they just added a 3rd row on top of the crates, and that lines up to like there's 100 SCU or something. So the number is a bit weird because it doesn't it's not divided. You can't divide it by 32 SCU. So there will be some maybe smaller crates or grids in the front, but I think that the majority from it comes from having a 3rd row on top, and that could then also mean that it could fit the Vulture comfortably. And I think that would make a lot of sense, obviously.
I'm most interested in seeing if they are going to have the secure storage feature working in that ship. We know the command module will be working. We know that the top will open and that cargo works. But how about the one thing that's really particular besides the command module, the secure storage?
What do you expect it to be?
Just the ability for a player to set a code on something or have something lock like that. That tells me permission is working
Hmm.
to a stronger extent. We need the ability to either have specific security measures or lock specific people out of things, you know?
Honestly, I never thought of that being a blocker or something. I think if they released it just as it is, with just the location of it being up in the front, it would already make it secure by making it hard to reach.
Yeah.
Obviously, having codes and stuff would be amazing, but I did not really expect that necessarily to happen before the Ironclad comes out.
I hope it does.
Me too.
I mean,
but
we need to be able to lock stuff, right? Imagine letting somebody on board your ship and anybody can access the engineering terminal.
yeah, true, we need that at some point, but specifically for the Ironclad and us saying that it might be coming out in 6 months. That is from building that thing. I have noticed that it is tricky to get boxes up there. There's no good way. There's no elevator. You can't really get them up the ladder, so you have to run all the way to the back of the ship and then up and then over the catwalks. And so just getting there will take a lot of time and a lot of opportunity for you to get shot at. I think
That's
that would already be enough for it to sell this as secure storage.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't want them to block the ship coming out if they can't put a lock on a door.
Yeah. But they also said that command modules are not done. I think they said something like works well internally, but it's not done. So
Yeah.
could still be a blocker. But maybe that is why they didn't specifically say when it's coming. But I expect, I don't know what else could be the Invictus ship.
And then a week later,
Look at us, where we expect at least one crazy big ship twice a year now, because it just happened for the last 3-4 patches.
they've got big
But that's
ships to
crazy
deliver.
But
They
the
better.
rate at which they have been putting them out is crazy.
Yeah.
I want to see if they can keep that up.
Just a week later after that, a couple weeks later after Invictus will be Alien Week, and it's looking like the possibility could be that the Gattac Raylan's coming out for that one. What do you think of those those speculations?
I don't think it's speculation. I mean, they have confirmed it's coming out next year.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, in the on the show floor, it already said the 56 version, so that's kind of hinting at it. But they said in the show it's coming next year.
Okay.
They have that black on white. They said that ship is coming next year, and that is obviously also crazy because that is so tricky to build. I have so much respect for these alien ships, and especially at that scale, and it will be the first one at that scale.
Yeah, that's what we really haven't gotten is a big alien ship. It's going to be like the first time being inside a alien building in the game even.
Yeah, true. And I am currently working on a small video about that. And just to look, I didn't really know how, I mean, I knew how big it is, but I had no idea really how that would feel like, and it's bigger than I expected. And small teaser, not a teaser for you, but the HoloViewer model that they have in game, they have set that themselves, and we already figured it out. That is pretty much the current state of it. It looks different than other HoloViewer models. They just took where they're currently at, ripped some pieces off, and put the game model in there. It's on a higher level. It's obviously not final art, but it is on a higher level than other HoloViewer models are usually. There's some stuff in there that has already shown us that it is in development. And they have said that the boxes on the sides are missing just for placeholder because they have not completely figured out how they are going to do it. They want to keep the triangles for aesthetic reasons, but at the same time make normal crates possible for
yeah, I mean, even in the Q&A on that ship, it said something like, oh yeah, that's just the outside. The actual things can still fit crates. But I guess that was that was once again then just saying something and being like, we'll figure it out later. They didn't even say we'll
Yeah,
figure it out
yeah,
later.
yeah,
They were
yeah.
just like, yeah, that's figured out. And now they're like, we got to figure that out.
And I mean, they said themselves they have not yet figured it out, which is a bit crazy to me. But
Oh man,
I
that's
mean, they
funny.
will.
Yeah, they will. That's what the reality of these last 2 years have been, is like we see them making sacrifices and concessions because they are figuring these things out. It's just funny that the Q&A was like, yeah, don't worry about it. It's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. And also doubling down on doubling the SCU capacity before figuring that out. It is a bit crazy to me. I would have
Yeah.
just said, yeah, it's coming next year, and that's enough. And then they could still say, yeah, you know what, SCU. Oh, I think that they said that to increase the price and have a reason for that.
I was gonna say, do you think that's like a way for them to get people to want to like, is that a sales tactic? Because I've seen people reacting to even my coverage of this. I am a tool. I'm a cog in the freaking wheel. I've seen people reacting to this and being like, "Yo, I'm holding on to my CCU," or um, maybe people will be willing to pick this ship up at IAE because now they know it's coming next year. Do you think they do that? Like the timing is on purpose? Put your tinfoil hat on.
You mean just about the SCU or about teasing that chip generally?
Just like sneaking in a little change like that right now. Think it's just coincidence?
For every other ship, I would have said that's a tactic. For this one, I think they could have halved the SAU and people would have still bought it the same because it's so unique and so special.
Well,
And
yeah.
I don't think you buy a Raylan for its functionality alone.
No. I'm not even saying like the fact that they extended the SCU, just the fact that they made an update. Like
Oh
people
yeah, then for
see
sure.
these updates and they're like, "Oh, they're updating it. It must be changing soon," kind of thing, right?
Then for sure. Yeah, absolutely. That's a tactic. I mean, it's a tactic that I don't mind. The hyping part, the increasing the price at the same time, I don't know. But the whole teasing, I mean, that's what I'm here for.
Did they increase the price of the Raylan during IAE?
I thought they did.
Okay.
I thought they said this is the last time to buy it at the old price.
Another
The last
tactic.
chance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
interesting
So yeah,
though.
absolutely, it's absolutely a tactic.
But I guess they literally said it on Star Citizen Live too, so it's not like it's a secret.
Yeah,
I see you, CIG.
but I'm excited for that.
Yeah, so am I. It's a impressive ship. The it's like got hovering tech all over it, and it looks like a freaking space gorilla flying through the air. I think it's going to be a very interesting ship to see around.
Yeah, and I mean, I consider that a big ship. So we're getting 3 big ship next year, which is just insane.
Yeah, that we know of. They also said the
I don't think
Galaxy
we get
for
more
next
than
year, right?
yes. The Galaxy is the IA ship for next year,
Oh, I've heard.
but I'm not sure where they would fit another big ship in there.
Yeah, I guess they wouldn't get the Liberator done by then.
I don't think they're working on the Liberator, are they?
It went into pre-production last month or in October.
Oh, sorry, I don't count that as working on.
Well, that's why I'm saying
yeah,
it probably
okay.
won't happen because they won't.
Yeah,
in
no, I
production
mean
on
pre-production
that
is it's not. I don't expect that next year.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else that they've said, but they also have hinted at like a medium salvage ship, I think, at some point.
A
And
medium salvage ship.
yeah, I think they said something about that as a possibility. But maybe that's more than a year out. Oh, I don't know.
I don't remember.
There anything else that you have speculation about that they might, or that they have talked about that is releasing next year that we haven't talked about?
Yeah, the Auroras. Not
Yes, the
only the
Aurora
gold
rework.
standard, but also a Mark II. Both confirmed for next year.
Excuse me.
That I'm excited for. Yeah.
Come again.
They
Like
said
they're
the
making
Aurora
a
Gold Standard is coming, and the Mark II is also coming next year.
they're making an Aurora Mark II.
Mm-hmm. And I found the explanation pretty good. It is such an old and iconic ship that is in more hangars than any other ship, because obviously everyone back in the days had to choose between this and the. I think we only had 2 options back in the days, or was it already 3? I don't know.
We had the Aurora, the Mustang, and the Reliant series at first.
Reliant was more expensive, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I think
the
for
only
people like me,
two.
who are students, there were only 2
Yeah.
starters: the Mustang and the Aurora.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
I think that's, yeah, they said that ship is, there are so many of them, and really changing it would not, probably not everyone would be happy about that. And also lore wise, I think it is a great idea to have an updated version of that and still have the old ones flying around, or just having them in your garage as a retro token of history. And I also
Yeah.
think that it is a ship that definitely needs a bigger update, so I appreciate having both.
So why
If
not?
that,
Why not?
yeah.
Why not do it like the Asgard or like the Golem, where it's just they update the old one and then bring in a new ship that's based on the old one, but it's a different ship.
So the golem? What you mean,
Like
from the golem to the ox?
yeah.
Oh, okay. So you want something that is like different in role or size, or
Is that the idea? It's like if it's a different role, they make it. This just confuses the whole Mark II thing even more. Like the only reason we had Mark II in the first place was because the Hornet was originally made Mark 1 and Mark 2 based on the lore and Squadron 42, right? Ish.
they talked about that at length in the live. I can't quote that perfectly, but
Okay.
I think it is a lot, specifically for that one, is because that ship has so much history that changing it would be wrong, but you would have to change it quite a bit. I think it just gold standard again, putting in the weapon rack and the components. I don't think that would make it a useful ship nowadays. I don't think gold standardizing is that a word? Gold standardizing it would be enough really for that ship.
Yeah, that.
But
And there's a lot mixed up. I have a lot of feelings about that because that's like, a problem of the fact that we have expanded the idea of what a starter ship is so much.
that's true.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Making a Mark II of another ship is just gonna make it more. Now the cat's out of the bag, really. That people are gonna expect every single ship to have a Mark II now. Before this, it was down to the lore of the Zeus and the existing beliefs surrounding the Hornet series, which was basically that they made the Hornet for pre Squadron 42 and everything that happened there, and then when all that stuff went down, they were like, "Oh, we got to go back and make another Hornet, so we'll make the Mark II." And they've been talking about that since like 2014, so that's made sense, and that's felt like it was reliable and understandable. Now I'm like, okay, CIG, you just gonna make a Mark II of anything?
I guess it's tricky. Also, keeping all of them, servicing all of them, could become tricky, but the way they are setting up their ships now makes that possible, I guess. For these old ones, keeping them still alive. I mean, I like it it is the ship I have been learning the game with. It would be weird if that is gone now. So I have mixed feelings about it. Maybe for this one is okay because it's so old and so unique.
Yeah. But then they'd be like, "Oh, we also have a Constellation Mark II now because that one also is really old and super iconic.
Yeah.
Oh, and the
And
Gladiator
yeah,
Mark II also, which is super old. Oh, and the Reliant series Mark II. And don't forget our 300 series Mark II. They might as well give us back the old version of the 300 series now and call that a Mark I and just change the one that we have right now to be
yeah,
something different."
yeah. I mean, at the end of the question is, do you want unlimited ships?
Yeah, just go balls to the wall now. Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting one for me, but that
I get
does
you.
wrap up.
I get you. I get you. But for this one, I specifically think, why not? But you're right. It might. Yeah, I see the issue with it too.
See where they go. I feel like I say that about every
Um,
choice that they make from now on. It's like, okay, we'll see how far they take it.
there's more stuff that we didn't go over. The hull series got a crazy change to it. So first of all, the B is coming next year, also confirmed.
Okay, cool.
Increased to 512 SCU.
Whoa.
Yeah, and they have said that to make it still land on planets, they had to change the layout a bit, and so it's rotated by 45 degrees, so it's an X shape now instead of a cross from the front. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but we'll see. But the other ones, the D is reduced to 6,900 SCU, and the E to 12,288 from 98,000.
Whoa. That's a
That's
huge.
crazy.
Yeah. So they were like, this isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
They saw reality and they decided they didn't want to have to deal with it.
Yes. I mean, partly it was always clear, right?
I think as it got,
that
as we
has to
got,
happen.
as we got closer and closer to the realities of cargo hauling, it was like the whole D and E are kind of crazy ideas.
Yeah. I mean, they said it. I didn't think about it, but you have to load over 3,032 SCU crates on that thing. So obviously that's just unrealistic. But at the
And the
same
whole,
time, I kind of feel like we're missing out on this gigantic hauler ships. I would kind of I mocked that up in my stream afterwards, and just the whole volume that the ship has now. If you put these 12,000 SCU in 32 crates, it's not that far off from a hull C. So it's not that gigantic ship anymore, which I kind of still want. Even if I would be willing to not have it in player hands and just have it as backdrops, as story pieces that don't function, because I can see that 98,000 SCU is just not feasible in game.
yeah, I don't know.
But for people who bought it again, I can see that they might be a bit angry about it.
Yeah, I can understand that too. I think these are the small things that this is just happening. We're in the midst of this becoming a game, and a lot of
Mhm.
concepts are meeting reality and changing from what they're saying about respawning to how attacking bases on other shards is, the cargo realities
Mhm.
of all of this. Like there are a lot of things that are happening that I think people have foreseen and expected to happen in some ways, but now that they're actually happening in reality, it's like every time a concession is made, you have to make amends with that. You have to understand and make the call for yourself as to whether or not that's enough or too much, or if you want to drop the project
Yeah.
because of it. But it's good, I think, for everybody to just be very ready for the things that they have expected with this game to change at least slightly as they get to the
Mhm.
point where it has to become a game.
Yeah.
These changes are interesting though. The
Yeah.
the whole B getting expanded like that kind of puts it within reaching distance of competing with the Starlifter, which is crazy. It's C2.
Mhm.
And it also it would put it within range of competing with the Raylan too if they hadn't increased the Raylan's cargo.
That might be the reason.
Yeah. making room for that. So it sounds
Yeah.
like they've had a pretty significant pass on understanding how cargo hauling is fitting into the economy, and they
I
made some
just hope they
changes.
have, because obviously these big numbers, they can only extrapolate from what we have in game right now. And I'm not entirely sure why they have to be so specific with these two big ships already. Just saying it has to reduce drastically would maybe be enough for me, and then they can still figure it out later. But I mean, they have to put something on the storefront, right? And even if they
Yeah.
change it from 12 to 15 later, that's not as drastic as changing it from 98 to
Yeah.
12.
Yeah, I would think it could definitely still change in the future. I don't even know if they have the like if they understand the scale of what their simulation will be putting out, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like they could
How? I
be
mean, yeah,
they could be dealing with 4,000 SU traveling between Stanton and Terra. They could be dealing with 50,000 SU, depending on, I guess, how many players there end up being. I don't know. Were there any other ships that they went over for the next year, or any that you think personally we might see next year?
um, the last one officially mentioned was another Kruger ship. We don't know
Oh,
any size or anything, just that it's called the Stingray.
oh, that sounds fun.
And but it could be anything, right? I just after I like to see more Kruger. I think the aesthetic is pretty amazing on that one.
It is pretty cool. Yeah, I think the Wolf really picked up a lot of people's idea of what Kruger could do. It's a
Yeah,
well-designed ship.
interior too looks pretty
Yeah.
sleek.
Yeah, a larger Kruger ship would be very cool to see. Like a 3-person sort of multi-role comp, like a Paladin from Kruger would be really interesting. I wonder how that
Mhm.
would look.
I hope that it's. I mean, Stingray sounds pretty flat to me.
True.
But I hope. Yeah, I guess I have.
It it makes
For
me
some
think of
reason,
the
I'm always
ship.
thinking.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you go ahead first.
I was gonna say it reminds me of the ship from Phantom Menace that Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan use.
I kind of wanted to say nearly the same thing. To me, the wolf looks like the N1 starfighter,
Hmm.
right? Which is different line, but also same Naboo ship, I guess.
Yeah.
But in the second, is it in the second one? Yeah, in the second one, Amidala has this wide chromey ship, which is
Oh
pretty
yeah.
ugly. I think the one you're talking about is pretty nice, but the second one, the wide one, this is kind of what I'm fearing now because of the Stingray.
You don't like the way that one looks?
Well, let's say I like the one in episode 1 more.
Okay. Okay.
And
Well,
now I expect something sleek and fast looking from Kruger.
I don't think they'll disappoint.
Now I know me neither. I'm
They don't.
pretty confident about
They
that.
don't really anymore. Like even the ships that I'm not really a fan of, like I think the Peregrine and the maybe not the Firebird so much, but the Peregrine was like such a waste of a ship. It's still it looks really good.
Yeah, agree. But to answer your question, I have no idea what else they could be cooking.
Well,
They gave us a list of manufacturers that will be coming out next year. And the only things on there that we have not talked about are Aegis and Origin, I think. So I don't know what else.
Origin
I feel like we
G12.
have something. Oh yeah, that would be boring. Sorry. All these 600 I rework. I don't know. Maybe.
No,
I don't
I
think they.
don't think
I don't
they're
know.
not going to bless Origin. I'm sorry, Origin folks. I wouldn't get your hopes up for that one.
Yeah, but my point is with these two still heavily waited for. I don't think a new Origin ship would. I don't know. People would be a bit angry about that. Maybe.
Origin doesn't make sense right now. Like
Yeah.
they just don't have a
So
reason to push an Origin ship because they're going to be all passenger transport, maybe cargo, but most likely passenger transport or exploration focused.
yeah. And I would love to see a new one, but I just feel like with these two, they have to they have to get those out before they can do something new.
Yeah.
And Aegis I'm a bit excited for, because Aegis back in the day was my favorite manufacturer. Just visually, I think the Gladius and the Vanguard and the
Yeah, those got me too.
those were the ones that I liked the most, and I feel like they are so old right now. I mean, they still look great, but just technically they are so last gen compared to something like the Clipper.
Even though the designs are so nice, man. The Vanguard's like big nacelles in the front when they're lit up. I love the concept images of that. And then the gosh, what was it called?
Saber?
Yeah, the Saber. Best looking fighter in the game, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I can't say it's the best one, but it's definitely in my most favorite list. All of these, I love them, but we have not seen a new one of those. I don't think I've ever seen them release a new Aegis ship, fighter ship, with that language in the time I've been following. So I would like to see something modern from them. But I kind of, there might be also something I'm missing, that it is something bigger or something more industrial or something.
Please, CIG, give us the Vulcan. Please give us the Vulcan and give us refueling and rearming, and I will be so happy.
Yeah, I guess I honestly think that's too big. Just for what with what else they have already lined up for next year.
Don't do it. Shh. No. Let me have it.
Okay, let's say my personal, if I could put one ship on the list that I would want, then it would be an Aegis fighter in the style of a Saber and a Vanguard, but in that generalist category where I can also have like a bit of living quarters in there.
Oh boy.
And, you know, I don't think it makes any sense at all, but that's what I would personally like, because I like the interiors and I like their exteriors.
Maybe like a generalist
that is
like a generalist version of the Guardian.
Of the Guardian.
Yeah, you get like a combat focused ship that still has all the facilities for general purposes.
Oh, okay. So I thought because I was still at Aegis in my mind.
Oh yeah, no, like the Guardian, but from Aegis. So like a heavy fighter focused ship from Aegis, but it's generalist made.
Yeah, that would be nice. But I also would like a generalist ship from Crusader. But we don't get a Crusader next year. That is also something we take away from that.
Dude, I mean, that's what I was chasing with the Mercury Star Runner and the Spirit C1. If they did that, oh boy, oh my gosh, yeah, I wonder what that would be like. Well, at the end of each of our podcast episodes, oh, go ahead.
We could say that the Intrepid is already like a tiny step into that. For a starter ship, that maybe is already our generalist, just because of the amount of space you have in there.
Yeah, it's getting there. All right. Let's wrap this talk up about ships with one of your own predictions. We've been taking predictions from our guests over the last several weeks. A hot take that we'll touch back on at some point next year when you come back on the show. This will be available to our viewers to track. So make sure it's something that might actually happen, but also it does have to be a hot take. So what do you think we could see in the next, say, 4 to 6 months from Star Citizen that you want to have down on the record?
I think with engineering out next year, I honestly think that will take the majority of the first half of the year to get ironed out. But the way they have been cooking in the last year, I also expect something story-wise in the next half year before Invictus. Something that continues their solo story, not solo, but their storylines. I think feature-wise, we are done with. They have enough with engineering and armor, and I don't expect anything big other than that for now.
All right. engineering is going to be the focus, with, it sounds like, some implementations into the storylines we're following.
It's more a hope than a prediction.
I hope so too. All right, man. Thank you so much for joining me today. As always, it's a great talk, hearing your thoughts on ships. I will be watching your videos to see what you. I mean, there's no silhouettes, which is sad, but I will be watching to. Maybe we could come up with our own silhouettes video or something.
Working on it.
Nice. I love to hear that. And they didn't show any silhouettes, right?
I know they didn't, but they also did not say that it's not coming specifically. They said, no, not today. Could still mean that there is one at the end of the year. Could not. They did not really
All right. Well,
clearly say
we'll
it.
see. Hope so. Can you let the folks know where they can find your own content if they want to follow on?
Yeah, so I just my username tristPWN is, which I use on YouTube, and that's the most important channel. I live stream only on YouTube right now, and my live streams are mainly me building stuff in Blender, like the ironclad interior, and people just watch me live and sometimes help me and give me ideas, or help me find stuff that I couldn't find, and we just talk a bit about the creative side and the artistic side more than. I don't really play that live. And
Yeah, I feel it.
I guess the only place where you can find me.
A lot of my time has been spent covering this game and not playing, so I get that. All right, buddy. Thank you so much once again for coming on. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Seriously, we appreciate it. The podcast has grown quite a bit this year, and we're happy to see where it finishes off in 2025, going into a pretty exciting 26. We'll be expanding to find more guests from outside of Star Citizen, as we have recently with Luke Stevens and Vault Wanderer, just not too long ago. I think about a year ago or 2 years ago now. But the goal over the next year is to start to look at more of the community of people that will be filing in as Squadron 42 grows. So if you've been liking the podcast, please leave a review. Suggest it to a friend, maybe post it to other Star Citizen groups. Let the folks know that we are covering this stuff every week with different guests. And if you don't like it on YouTube, you can find us on any audio platform, Spotify, Apple, all the things. We love to talk. Thank you again, everybody, for coming to the launch sequence. Hope you learned something this week. I'll catch you in the next one.